What is good, gamers? And today I was tasked with discussing a human rights violation that's going on in the world right now. And the violation that I have selected to speak about is bias against men, particularly in the judicial system. I will have links to all the sources that I used in the description below. Before we get into the actual, meat and bones of the video, I just want to put down some counter arguments that I have heard researching this stuff and talking with people, etc., where people will say that men aren't, victimized or whatever. Men are plenty victimized, and even if they aren't a victimized group, which they definitely are, modern day feminism, the kill all men movement, etc. But even if they weren't, then you can't just choose to overlook certain human rights violations just because you don't think the group is victimized or whatever. That just, don't make sense. But with that being said, there are three things that I would like to talk about, or three proofs. So the first proof is sentence lengths between men and women of the same crime, incarceration rates, and then lastly, of course, child support. So, starting off with sentencing length, we have a 41-page study conducted in 2012 by Sonia Starr of the University of Michigan Law School. And in this study, it states that men, on average, have 63% higher sentences. And it also discusses the statistic about how women are twice as likely to avoid, conviction entirely. And it also, interestingly enough, talks about different pre-trial and pre-sentencing factors, such as plea bargains, that can actually make the 63% even higher. So 63% is just, current without looking at those. That statistic could fluctuate depending upon, the outside variables and everything, because I will admit the judicial system is, complicated and whatnot. Moving on to the next topic is incarceration rates. And this website that I found, fairpunishment.org, it lays out the incarceration numbers very, very clearly, very nicely, very neatly. So it has all of them from 2005 to 2020, which I'm not going to count 2020 because there was COVID and that, crime was down just in general. So I'm only going to go from 2005 to 2019. So it lists the year, the male prisoners, and then the female prisoners in prisons. And in 2005, there was 1.4 million men and then just 107,000 females. And the numbers, both of them keep rising. Both of them keep rising until they peak in about 2009, and then they've been on a steady decline. Except for 2020, of course, when it just, plummeted. Which is a good thing. It's good that crime is down. But I'm just saying, from a statistical perspective. But these numbers, pretty wild. Because some of the ratios, it even says on the website, as this is a quote from the website, as you can see, the number of male inmates is staggeringly high compared to the number of females incarcerated. In some years, the ratio of men to women is over 10 to 1, which is absolutely wacky. This website also gives us the great pleasure of giving us percentages. So this is based on the Federal Bureau of Prisoners, and it says in federal prisons, out of 185,000 federal inmates, 93.2% were men and 6.8 were females. And according to the Bureau of Justice statistics, it said that state and local prisons feature a similar ratio of 90.6% men and 9.4% women. And then this website ends off with a little summary, and in the summary it says, and I quote, "Some research is trying to prove that men are treated more harshly by the justice system than women, so comparing this ratio can come with harmful consequences," which is entirely factual, because just on average, based on, what I've seen researching this and just, in the wild, people are a lot more empathetic towards women just in general. So making this claim makes sense. And lastly, but surely not leastly, on our little trip through human rights violations, we have child support. Now, according to dadsdivorce.com, dads represent 85% of child support providers and pay more than female payers. Now, how much more is that? Let us take a little gander. Annual child support payments average $5,450 from men and $3,500 from women. And the website provides this percentage. It says that it's nearly 56% less. And, just the concept of child support and judges being a lot more privy to supporting, women and females, etc., etc. This has opened a financial opportunity for women to exploit child support. And you see a lot of this with like famous people. I know a bunch of basketball players had this happen to them like a couple years ago. I haven't heard about it too much anymore, but I also have strayed a little bit away from, that part of the news and whatnot. But it was a big thing. It was really big, and it was really popular, and it was bumping. Women would just go have sex with famous people, and then boom, they're making bank because they decided to not stay with them. And now there's just a child whose whole purpose for being born was to make his mom bank, which, I don't think that that's morally proper or anything, but that's also not a criticism of the judicial system, because they can only do but so much to control that kind of stuff. I just think, if that's what the situation looks like, then the man shouldn't have to pay child support. But still, 9 times out of 10, the man's going to have to pay child support for that. So, in conclusion, my SMART goal for this whole video or campaign or whatever you want to call it, I would like to achieve 10 likes on this video to show, support of what I've said here and everything. 10 likes. Pretty big goal, pretty big number. 10 by, I don't know, let's say my birthday, February. By February. 10 likes. So, if we can get that, that'd be dope. That'd be awesome. But until then, I'll see y'all.